Hey, it's Coach M here. I hope you're doing amazing. Okay, you'll definitely want to grab a notebook or some paper and pen for this video. I'm going to give you the 3 best tips for being a better parent to your teen. These 3 tips will help you really see how you're currently showing up with your teen and what you can do to improve the relationship. Coming up. Obviously, the fact that you're watching this video shows that you are already an amazing parent. But we all have room to grow and improve our parenting skills. So I'm glad you're here watching this because today's video will help you do just that, improve your parenting skills with your teen. And before we get into the 3 best tips, you'll want to answer these 3 questions first because they'll help reveal some deeper beliefs that you have about yourself and about your teen. It's best if you can write them down, so pause the video and grab a notebook or some paper and a pen. Okay, first question to ask yourself is, who is my teen? Jot down everything that comes to mind. When you think about them, what comes to mind first? Write that down. When you talk about your teen to other people, what comes to mind? Write that down. Pause the video and write down as much as you can, whether it's good or bad, whatever comes to mind, write it down. Second question. Does your teen gladly and willingly, without you having to ask, talk to you about what's going on with their friends, their job if they have one, school, their interests? Again, do they come to you and just start talking about what's going on in their world without you having to ask them? Third question, when you ask them to do something, do they typically do it? Or do they talk back, roll their eyes, or nod and say that they'll do it, but you have to keep asking them over and over for them to do it? Write down what your teen's typical response is in most situations. You'll want to think about these questions as we go over these 3 best tips to improve your parenting. Tip number 1, reevaluate your beliefs about your teen and honor who they really are. When you answer the first question, who is my teen? Look at what you wrote down first. Is it something positive or negative about your teen? Check to see if any of the words written down are typical labels for the teenager stereotype, like lazy, unmotivated, doesn't think things through, anxious, struggling, defiant. Notice if you have more negative words written down or more positive words. And try not to judge yourself here if you happen to have more negative words than positive words to describe your teen, or if the first words you wrote down were more negative than positive. We want to look at this as merely information that we're gathering about our thoughts and our feelings towards our teen. We do not want to judge ourselves here if we can help it. So just allow whatever thoughts and feelings you're having about your teen. Try not to resist them. If you have the thought that your teen is lazy, accept that you have that thought. You may really believe that they're lazy, but I want you to be open to reevaluating that thought. Unfortunately, we often forget that our children cannot truly be labeled in any way. They are far greater than any mistake that they could ever make, than any behavior they could ever engage in, and than any so-called category or box that someone tries to put them in. So as parents, we have to be careful not to fall into this labeling trap with our teens. It's tempting to think our teen is just being lazy when we don't see them putting in as much effort as we think they should. But there are always deeper reasons for everything. Deeper reasons for why they're not motivated, deeper reasons for why they're engaging in risky behavior, deeper reasons for why they aren't listening to you. The way to start uncovering those deeper reasons is by reevaluating your beliefs about your teen. In order for us to start reevaluating our beliefs, we have to become aware of the beliefs that we have in the first place. We then need to accept them, and then we can change them. Okay, now go back to the answer you wrote down for question number 1. And take anything that you wrote down about your teen that's even slightly negative. Anything from my teen is anxious all the time, or my teen is lazy, or my teen isn't healthy and fit, or my teen has no friends, or my teen is not good at spelling, whatever it is. And ask yourself these 3 questions to challenge your beliefs. Number 1, is this thought 100% true all of the time? Is your teen really anxious all of the time in every situation? Is your teen lazy all of the time in every situation? Does your teen really have no friends at all? Number 2, what is an alternative thought that could be true? So try to be as specific here as you can. An example of this is if one of the negative statements I wrote down was my teen is anxious all the time. An alternative thought would be my teen seems to get anxious sometimes in situations when he's meeting new people for the first time. Or if I wrote down that my teen is lazy, an alternative thought would be, my teen seems unmotivated sometimes when it comes to completing his math homework. Number 3, what are 3 reasons why that alternative thought might be true? Here, you're just confirming that the alternative thought could be true and that your original thought might not be true. So an example would be, if my alternative thought was, my teen seems to get anxious sometimes in situations when he's meeting new people for the first time, I would want to recall examples of times when this was true. Or if my alternative thought was, my teen seems unmotivated sometimes when it comes to completing his math homework, I would give reasons as to why this statement could be true, recalling times when this statement actually was true. By asking yourself these questions, you're challenging a belief that you have about your teen that isn't serving your relationship with them. These limiting beliefs are not helping you honor who your teen really is, nor helping you see the bigger problem that's underneath the surface behavior. It's underneath the label that you've placed on them. Remember, the surface behavior always stems from something deeply rooted underneath, and it's our job as parents to uncover that root. But we can only do this if we are fully honoring who our teen is. This means seeing them for exactly who they are, not necessarily the beliefs that we've formed about who we think they are. The only way to do this is by challenging those beliefs. Tip number 2, listen intuitively. Look at your answer to the second question that I asked earlier. Does your teen gladly and willingly, without you asking, talk to you about what's going on with their friends, a job if they have one, school, their interests? If you answered no to this question, then tip number 2 is for you. Listening intuitively means being fully present with your teen, paying attention to your emotions in the moment, and paying attention to your teen's body language, their choice of words, their tone, their pitch. This is really tough to do if we don't know how to center ourselves and we don't know how to separate our stress, those uncomfortable emotions that we feel, from the moments that we're interacting and engaging with our kids. We have to be able to separate the stress that we're feeling from work or from a problem that we're dealing with from the time that we're actually spending with our kids, interacting with them, talking with them. We don't want our negative emotional state to cloud or ruin our interaction with our teen. Now, sometimes what our teen is doing or isn't doing is actually causing us the stress or unpleasant emotions. Like when our teen has failed their 3rd science test, or they've stayed up too late and they're not getting enough sleep, or they're overeating or not eating enough healthy foods, and the list goes on and on. But I want to challenge you here for a minute. All of those things are actually triggering something within you. It's your fear. It's your fear that your teen won't live up to your expectation that is causing the stress that you feel in those moments. It's a fear that, oh my God, my child is going to flunk out of high school or have to repeat a grade or won't be able to get into a good college and they won't be able to get a good job and they won't have a good life. It's this escalation of fearful thoughts that keep us stuck in the negative emotional state that we're in. The problem is we can't see the deeper issue going on until we process those emotions. And we definitely don't want to engage with our teen until we've processed those emotions. Again, we want to release those emotions so that we can connect first with our teen. I know. This can be a hard concept to fully understand at first. So let me give you another example of what I'm talking about. Let's say I find out that my teen isn't turning in a lot of her assignments in math, and her grade has dropped from a B to a D. I immediately start to get upset, having thoughts like, what is she doing? Why the heck isn't she turning in her assignments? I can't believe that she let her grade drop to a D. That's it. I'm taking away her phone. She's spending all of her time on social media, and that's the problem. If I have these thoughts, what emotions do you think I'll feel? Probably anger, disappointment, frustration, even some anxiety. So if I try to engage with my teen, even if my teen is just trying to talk to me about her day, I'm going to have a really hard time listening intuitively to her when I'm feeling these emotions. So I have to process the emotions and detach the stress that those emotions are causing. I have to detach those from the moment that I'm in with my teen. Listening intuitively is about detaching from the emotions you feel about a certain situation so that you can still be fully present in the moment with your teen. Let's say I find out about my teen's D grade in math, And shortly after I find out, my teen comes into my room where I am and says, "Mom, oh my gosh, you're never gonna believe this. This is so awesome." In this situation, if I can't let go of my feelings about her D grade in that moment, I'm going to miss the opportunity to connect with her first. The important part here is that I connect with her first before I bring up her D grade. This is about connecting and listening intuitively. I won't be able to do that if I'm still holding on to the emotions about her grade. I have to let go and release the emotion so I can show up fully in the moment for her. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that I don't address the D grade. I most certainly do, but not in that moment. Not in the moment where she is trying to talk to me about something that she's really excited about. She's letting me into her world. I need to wait. I would want to process my emotions first about her D grade, then talk to her and help her come up with a solution to bring her grade up. If you don't know how to process emotions, check out the video here and linked below in the description to learn the right way to process uncomfortable emotions. Also, you can check out the video linked below on listening intuitively, where I go a little more into depth on what it looks like and how to do it effectively. Tip number 3, nurture your relationship with your teen. This one seems so obvious, but we have to stop for a minute and think about how we are currently nurturing our relationship with our teen. Do we actually carve out special one-on-one time with them? And how often do we set aside that time for them? You'll want to create a routine with your teen that is consistent. It could be every Tuesday night watching a favorite show together, or every Sunday afternoon playing a video game or creating a video together, or maybe going to the mall together every other weekend. Just pick something that they love that you can do with them on a consistent basis. You'll want to have it be the same time every week or every other week or even once a month. Just make sure you're as consistent as you can be. That's the key here. By doing that, you're showing your teen that they matter to you and you care about the things that they care about. And you're building trust, more and more trust between the two of you. Which means when you ask them to please clean the bathroom or clean their room, they'll be more likely to do it because they feel like you truly care about them and you care about what's important to them. Nurturing your relationship with your teen also means learning how to ask empowering questions from a non-judgmental place, which also helps to build the trust and promote respect in the relationship as well. If you want to learn how to ask empowering questions, check out the video here and it's linked in the description down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like it, where I give you the tools to help you navigate the teen years, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below and click on the bell icon to get notified when I upload a new video. And I do upload videos weekly. I hope you have a wonderful week and I'll see you in the next video.